Now let's go ahead and configure our both the FTDs into high availability now. So to go to high availability, again on the device, be in the device management, you will be on the same page, click on add and click on high availability. I give it a name, I'll give an HA name and select the type. If it's a ASA firepower, you have to select the firepower. If it's an FTD, select the FTD. And again, it will select who will be the primary, who will be the secondary. So select FTD1 as a primary and FTD2 as a secondary and click on continue. The operation restart the snort process. Don't worry about the snort process because we are going to discuss that one in detail later on. And primary and secondary device temporarily causing traffic interruption. Yes, I know. Click on yes. And now it is asking you which link do you want me to use as a high availability. So let me see failover. I am using gig 0/3 interface. So I will use the same thing. Interface will be gig 0/3. Now before I configure this one, it will I was supposed to do a no shut of the interface gigabyte 0/3, but here it will do it automatically. Now again, the state link, I will select the same thing. So once I select the same interfaces, it will block out the secondary one. Now logical name, if you remember in the active standby in the ASA also we said that the particular interface will be gig 0/2 with the logical name as a LAN with the IP address and the secondary IP address. So I will go ahead and say that it's a LAN. And the primary address,
logical name of what?
Yeah, you are just saying that gigabyte 0/3 instead of saying that my interface name will be gigabit Ethernet 0/3. Okay. You're just saying that it's a logical name LAN. Okay. Interface renaming.
Okay.
Now I'm using 10.100.100.0 network, so I will use the same thing. So I will say that the primary address will be 10.100.100.1 /24 on subnet mask is over here, so don't worry. 10.100.100.2 subnet mask will be 0. That's it. If you are using IPv6, select on this one, it will give you the IP version. Okay. 10.100.100.1. Again, I would do 10.100.100.2.
What's the IPsec encryption option for?
LAN failover link is used to synchronize configuration. Stateful link is used to synchronize application contents between peers. Yeah, from into that one. Selected interface links and encryption settings cannot be changed like that. So if you want your encryption between these two, if you want to encrypt the traffic, then that's where you will use this one. But currently no one will use that one, don't worry. All right, so once that has been done, click on add now. Adding high availability. And one more difference over here is that if you remember in the ASA, when we configure that interface gig 0/0, right? Interface gig 0/0, I said that name it will be outside and the IP address will be, for example, 1.1.1 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and standby, right? I said that standby address will be 1.1.1.2. I was supposed to give all the addresses for every interface. I was supposed to give the primary, secondary IP address. But in the FTD, you don't have anything. You will just provide this one IP address. No need of this one. That's it. Only one IP address. You don't. But if you do have a version which are lower than 6.5 or 6.5 or lower than that one, that's where it will ask you for the primary IP address and the secondary IP address for the every interface.
So those interfaces it will fail over those interfaces. When fail over, of course, is that the reason why it doesn't ask for the?
Now they have developed a mechanism where you don't require these two IP address. They only require only one. And whenever there is a failover happening, it will automatically shift to the secondary one. This IP address will be shipped to the secondary automatically. Okay. So it's a pretty good one. So once we configure the high availability, I don't have the routers to test it. Otherwise, I would have tested that one by switching the peers.
So if you go under FTD Hight now, do you still have devices there, or is it going to pull those devices out?
Sorry.
Under FTD Hight.
I did not understand your question.
Can you look at your screen?
Yeah.
FTD, the group, FTD group you created.
FTD Hight, yes.
Yeah. Do you still have devices there?
Yeah, now it is there now. High availability
Okay.
devices are there, and within that one, I do have two of them. So this is a folder.
Okay.
These are the devices. And again, if I have FTD3, I can implement over here, integrate over here. Again, similarly, I can have the multiple folders over here. Now, once the, yep, go ahead.
So for ACL configuration, do you push the same ACL to all the devices in a group?
Yes. I can select the group, but I did not select the group, if you remember. I can select the group, but when we configure the policies, I will show you that you have an option to select the group, or you have an option to select to the send to it to the primary to that particular FTD. You got two options. So for example, in this high availability, I said that FTD HA, right? Now I do have a FTD1 and FTD2 which are participating in the high availability, but I do have the FTD3, I do have the FTD4. Now I'm creating a policy. All right. When I create a policy, I want that is similar to everyone. So if I apply to here, if I apply here, if I apply here, everyone is having the similar policies. Configuration is the same for everyone. So that's why what I can do is that instead of sending the configuration, selecting these two, this one, what I can do, I can just select this FTD HA. I will say that, okay, push this policy to this particular firewall, that means folder. So whatever the FTDs which are located within this folder, all will be applied with that policies. So this is in case if you have a multiple FTDs, that's when you will utilize these folders, groups, and all those things. So I'm saying folder, that refers to the groups. All right, so it will be pretty easy in certain ways. But anyhow, when you have multiple FTDs, definitely every FTD will have a different configuration. So it will be very less likely that you will be pushing to that group instead of the individual FTDs. Right, so let's go back to the high availability, and you can see that the task is running still. So it will take time. So once that is been finished, what I have to see that you are not able to edit the FTDs individually. You see that FTD1, I don't have any option to edit. FTD2, I don't have any option to edit. But instead, I do have an option to edit the high availability. So whatever I'm going to do, everything will be applied to the high availability. And when I click on edit, it is taking me straight away to the high availability with the information, all the information over here. Now, if I go back to the interfaces, monitored interfaces, currently it is only monitoring the management one, the diagnostic one. But slowly, if we create the interfaces, every interfaces will be monitored. So now this is the interfaces. So when I go to the interfaces, for example, gigabyte gig 0/0, click on edit, enable that one, and go to IPv4 address. You see that it is only asking me the IPv4 address, that is the primary, but it is not asking me for the secondary address anymore. All right, so good with that. That was your FTD high availability.